Dak Prescott took a large step in his production last season, and the Cowboys led the league in yards per game. After they lost Randall Cobb, Travis Frederick, and Jason Witten in the offseason, they did add CeeDee Lamb at number 17 in the draft. So, Shannon, will the Cowboys' offense be better or worse this season?
You know, that's a very dangerous thing to assume that a team is going to pick right up where they left off last year, and I understand. But, Skip, how did they win games last year? It was their offense. Skip said it was their defense that kept letting them down. Jason Garrett not having that defense ready to play. They was, what, second or third, maybe even fourth in points scored, number one in yards. So their offense, they could produce points. Now, the problem that they have is that they got too one-sided. They would fall behind, abandon the running game, and Dak would have to throw. Skip, I'm looking at it. In 7 of their losses, they scored 10 points or less through the first 3 quarters. That won't get it done. And so this is why I call it, empty calories, because that's what they have. They would be behind by so much, and then you have to throw, get yourself back into the game, only to lose by 10 or 14, like they were doing on a normal occurrence. And Skip Bayless, my quarterback's a warrior. My quarterback, I want Dak, and he'll battle, yada, yada, yada. No, you were down by 1,700 points, and you got to score within 1,500, but you still lost by 200. Skip, I don't like to assume that you automatically pick back up, because having covered this game, Skip, everybody starts at the bottom of the mountain. Just like Kansas City can't assume that they're going to start where they left off last year. Everybody starts from the bottom. So with CeeDee Lamb, yeah, they should be better. I mean, in what aspect? Are you going to win the division? No.
Okay, my turn. All I know is the offense had better be better, or my team is going to be sunk again. All I know is my team led the National Football League in yards per game, but wait a second, it was 6th in points scored. Well, the object is to score points, and the ultimate object is to win games. They won 8, and they lost 8. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8. That was Jason Garrett's middle name as he was born. His mother christened him old 8-8 Jason, because that was his MO his whole time in Dallas. He just kept basically going 8-8. He's a 500 football coach, and I, for one, am glad he's gone. Good guy, too nice of a guy, actually. Glad he's gone. Now, back to this question. I thought the offense last year was terribly overrated, because at key times it was just terrible. And you were right about empty calories. I did think, especially in the Green Bay loss at Jerry World, Dak was a warrior. He would not quit. He kept fighting. He also kept fighting at Chicago. It felt like more of a lost cause, but he threw for the most fourth quarter yards of any quarterback all year in Chicago in what was still an ugly loss. But the point was, when it was time to go score touchdowns, this offense couldn't score touchdowns. At New England, it was a huge game, week 12. It was a turning point game. It was a measuring stick game for my football team against Brady and Belichick up there in the cold weather at their place in Foxborough. My team did not score a single touchdown in that game. Then week 16, it's do or die, sink or swim. You got a shot. You can win the division if you beat the Eagles at the Eagles. My team did not score a single touchdown in that game. And then, how about this? At New Orleans, I couldn't defend it. I didn't think Dak played poorly. I thought the defense actually played pretty well, but it was Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints. My team managed to score 1 touchdown and lost 12-10. And then at the Jets, my team couldn't score a touchdown for 3 quarters. Of course, Amari tapped out, said, I got a little thing with my leg, and I don't think I can play the rest of the game. He had 1 catch. Okay. And again, they lost 24-22 ultimately. Dak battled back, but it was too little too late. And then at Chicago, they scored 1 touchdown the first 3 quarters. That won't get it done. They got embarrassed. And then against Green Bay and Buffalo at home, Buffalo on Thanksgiving, they got humiliated because they scored only 1 touchdown in the first 3 quarters. Well, okay, so I just gave you all the huge negatives, yet they led the league in yards per game. Something was really wrong with the offense. And I keep telling you, the reason I can't defend Dak in his negotiation, which is still stalemated, still at an impasse, still going south instead of north, he didn't make enough key plays like he had done the previous 3 years, where he would decide the game by making the play at the moment, legs or arm. Last year, that didn't happen. And yet last year, well, let's just look at what was there last year that's not here this year. Travis Frederick's a perennial Pro Bowler. He tried to play last year, you know, off his autoimmune deficiency and syndrome. He didn't like the way he played. He thought he was below average. He couldn't take it, so he quit. And not quit, he just retired. And God bless him. I appreciate that. Then Jason Witten last year was the 3rd best receiver in catches on the team. He's obviously now somehow a Las Vegas Raider. Figure that. And Randall Cobb was the 4th best receiver on the team. And Randall Cobb signed with the Houston Texans, and they overpaid him. They gave him $9 million a year because they had just given away DeAndre Hopkins, but he's gone. So those are 3, you could argue, big losses. So Amari last year obviously caught 52 balls at home, 27 on the road. Well, something's really wrong with that, but you know what that got him? That got him a new $100 million contract. No road warrior. He was more of a road weenie. And that got him $100 million because they didn't have a way out. They needed Amari that badly. But thank you, football gods, CeeDee Lamb fell into our laps at number 17. So can CeeDee change the world? Yeah, I believe it. I told you going in. I'm not second guessing. I first guessed. I told you he's the best receiver in the draft. He's a number 1. Jerry Jeudy will prove to be a number 2 slot receiver type. Still very good. I don't condemn John Elway for taking him. CeeDee is a number 1. He's an alpha. He's a difference maker. He's DeAndre Hopkins, where you just have a hard time guarding him and keeping him from snatching footballs out of the air. As one scout said, he can just catch the crap out of the football. Well, I think he will, and I think he'll serve double-edged sword purpose for the Dallas Cowboys in that he'll be catching big balls on 3rd and 8, but he'll also be inspiring Amari to compete with him and live up to him, especially on the road. So do I think that the passing attack can be more consistent on big downs? Yes, I do. Which brings me to Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, I kept saying he looks like he's running in Cabo sand. Yeah. He got paid, and then he didn't earn his money. He dropped to 4th in the league in rushing, which is not all bad, 85 yards a game, but it wasn't Zeke. It wasn't who I'd come to expect. And the killer stat I told you was on 1st down, when he had the 2nd most carries in the whole National Football League on 1st down. And guess what? In yards per carry on 1st down, he ranked 18th. Do the math. 2nd most carries, yards per carry on 1st down, 18th. Well, that means he was going for 1 yard, 0 yards, -1, 2 yards, 0 yards, -2. That's how it kept going. And all of a sudden, Dak is in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 8. It's hard. You can't win that way. You put yourself so far behind the chains that ultimately you're going to fail in the NFL and you're going to go 8-8, which is what they went. So have they improved their defense some through the draft and free agency? Yes, they have. I expect it to be 20% better than last year when it was pretty lousy. But in the end, this team will go as far as Dak's offense carries it, with Mike McCarthy giving it a new feel, new input, a new sort of direction. And obviously he coached Joe Montana and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So I'm hoping he'll bring a new, just a new touch to it, with Kellen Moore still calling the plays. But the game plans will be Mike McCarthy's. So my point is, It better be better than it was last year. And I do think CeeDee will make the big difference to put it over the top, to be a playoff, big play, big game offense as opposed to last year.
Well, what we saw, Skip, is that it worked really well. This team worked really well when they played through the running game. Well, they fell behind by so many, so often, so quickly, they neutralized the run game. Skip, I think the most important down as far as creativity is the first down, because the Cowboys just hand the ball to Zeke and run into the line. There was no creativity. Look at Kyle Shanahan and the creativity that he creates on first down running the football. He doesn't just toss the ball to those running backs or just hand it to them. He gets creative with it. Look at the Kansas City. They get creative. So the question I have for you, is Zeke going to be better this year than he was last year? Because you said he wasn't very good. Well, if he's better this year, they should be better. Is Amari Cooper going to be better? See, for me, Skip, when I look at this offense, they don't need to be better. They need to be more efficient. Because, see, what happened doesn't do you any good, Skip, to go up and down the field, is that when you need a touchdown, you can't get it. You need to get in field goal position, you turn the ball over on down. So if you're more efficient, you're plenty good as is. The question is, when you need it, that's the mark of any great offense or any great defense. Kansas City proved when they needed scores late in the ball game, Skip, they came from behind all 3 playoff games by at least 10 points. And they ended up winning the game by at least 10 points. When you need a play, can you go make it? The Cowboys, yes, they led the league in yards, but when they needed one play, they couldn't make it. Defense, when